We're here with 3 of the 4 new head coaches in St. Tammany Parish, from left to right on your screen. Pope John Paul's Charlie Cryer, Salmen's Eric Chuter, and Mandeville's Hutch Gonzales. Coaches, I mean, anybody can just jump in whenever you want. I guess, Coach Cryer, you're new to the parish. The other two have a familiarity with the parish. But can y'all ever remember this much turnover? We're talking a third of the coaches in St. Tammany Parish are new. You ever remember this much turnover in a year?
No, I don't. I don't remember this much turnover. But, people taking jobs elsewhere kind of cause that down.
What's your read on this parish? I mean, I remember when you were on Ed Daniels' show and you were talking about the parish, maybe the talent's finally starting to catch up with the amount of schools in the parish. Is this parish getting better in terms of overall football talent?
I think it is. I think it'd be absurd to think it's not. I mean, as many people are coming in and where they're coming from. I mean, especially on the east side of the parish, there's a major influx of residents, even from the New Orleans area. In the area where we are on the west side, Mandeville is like a haven for people who work on the South Shore but live on the North Shore. So I just think, it'd be foolish to think that we're not getting kids who are, able to fill some of those voids that we had before, athletically or talent-wise, with the amount of people that are coming in.
Coach Cryer, you came from southwest part of the state. It's a surprise when a team from your region, your old region, doesn't make it to the Dome. St. Tammany Parish, it's always, okay, if they're going to play for state championships, it's going to be in volleyball or basketball or soccer, the recreational sports. What was your read while you were in southwest Louisiana on what the North Shore was? Or was it even on your radar, really?
Well, it probably, it's the first time I've been in this area, but, southwest Louisiana outside of Kinder, they're pretty regular going. Welsh has had a good few years. Barb is a quarter semi every year, but, it's probably about the same. I think the talent level is the same from what I've seen. And, I think the whole state's pretty strong, actually, considering the numbers we have. But I think Coach is right. I know when I go back to Lake Charles, you can't get through Covington and Mandeville. It's horrible. It's almost getting like Baton Rouge. But I think the talent level over here is good from what I've seen, and not much better than what it is southwest. Probably more schools southwest Louisiana. But I would compare it to be the same. I think I've seen Mandeville. We played Barb a couple of years when I was at St. Louis. It was a big money gate for us, and I think they played Mandeville a couple of times, and it was a close game. I thought they competed. I thought Mandeville actually should have won the first time they played.
Coach Chuter, we're almost 15 years now removed from Hurricane Katrina, and especially for the North Shore, that had a tremendous impact on a new kind of kid and a different region kind of moving to St. Tammany Parish. Now that we've had, we're coming up on kids who, I joked with my wife, she teaches 8th grade, and she's going to be teaching kids who don't remember Hurricane Katrina at all. What's been that impact now in terms of on sports and athletically that you've seen?
Well, just from our side of things, it's numbers. After Katrina, we had trouble fielding a team, obviously. Coach Leonard did a good job of getting all those coaches back together and then getting kids back together on a team, and especially those who didn't play, to kind of save the program. But then we've never been over 50, 55 kids since then. So it's, from our standpoint, we had, I don't know about how these guys were affected, but on the south side of Slidell, we were definitely affected by Hurricane Katrina. We did have people leave, or population leave, that never came back. We are getting a new influx of players who are moving over, but our biggest deal is numbers. But you bring up a good point about Hurricane Katrina, because I just seeing it and seeing things that have gone through, and I talk about this a lot with folks. We were coaching kids who were dealing with, I'd say, some PTSD, who dealt and had some learning gaps also, who when they went through that as a kid, that there were more things we had to do for them as coaches to get them to play. And sometimes it's not always about wins and losses wins and losses, excuse me. It's about developing a kid, developing young men. And now, as you mentioned that, kind of seeing that those kids really aren't around anymore because they didn't go through it like some of those younger kids did.
You have any kind of, in terms of, you coached a lot of places, have you seen okay, we're starting to get down to more of a pattern and a normalcy post the storm? I know we're 15 years removed from it, but still, that took a tremendous amount of impact. Like, and the perfect example I had was, for 10 years, when I would do recruiting stories and it would be a kid from Houston, they'd have a 504 cell phone number, or a 985 zip code, or cell phone number, excuse me, and they're in Atlanta. Those kind of things. Are you seeing maybe things starting to kind of settle down and develop into another pattern?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got to see it from kind of both sides. Hurricane Katrina hit when I was a senior in college. I was still playing ball. So we had kids that were playing football with us one day, and the next day they're getting rescued off a roof and they're going to Houston. So I got to experience that, unfortunately, as a player, where we lost guys, got guys, just a strange situation, especially from a college standpoint. And then, again, I think you have to talk about the influx of the kids, like we talked about, and the kind of kids they are. And it's a different, I think, realistically speaking, it's a different kind of kid that comes over in the east side of the parish as it is on the west side of the parish. A lot of people got out of New Orleans, per se, and came to, like I said, kind of a safe haven in Mandeville, where, Mandeville kind of is reflective of like Metairie used to be 20, 25 years ago. And then, Covington's kind of turning into that Mandeville area now, where it's becoming extremely suburban and really highly populated. So I think Covington's probably experiencing some different kind of kids. Mandeville's definitely dealing with more parents who are corporate and those kind of kids, and you look at some of those neighborhoods that are in there behind Mandeville, some really nice upscale, so you're dealing with kids more like that. And then on the east side of the parish, a lot of those people were escaping not just those floodwaters, but some of the things that those floodwaters brought in. So you got a lot of kids from, let's say, like Salmen and New Orleans East, who were kind of making that commute across the lake on 10 and moving over to this side. And so, yeah, I mean, you're not just dealing with more kids or different kids, you're dealing with different, maybe demographically and, psychologically and different kinds of kids.
Coach Chuter, I grew up with this, the west side of the parish. I was in the east side of the parish, born and raised in Slidell. The west side of the parish was always just over there, and it was like a different time zone sometimes.
Still is.
It still is. Coach Gonzales was able to talk about the west side of the parish. Do you still see that west side and the east side of the parish is vastly different?
Absolutely. I'm not putting down anybody. People come from different
just
backgrounds.
Different, right?
People, and we had some hardworking kids where we're at. We had kids who are looking for opportunities, and that's what we're trying to provide. We're trying to provide opportunities for them, and the kids who come out. When I tell you that we have some hard-nosed kids, we really do, and they do everything we ask and more. So,
Coach Cryer, you're kind of getting your feet wet. You're the real newbie out of this. Now that you've gotten that, we're wrapping up your first summer and you're about to head into your first fall camp. You haven't seen your team practice, pads or anything like that yet. You've mainly been 7-on-7. What's your impression? And you're also the one private school coach out of all three of these. What's your impression on what St. Tammany Parish and the kids in this parish?
Well, I felt like Coach Chuter. My kids are, I have a tendency, being in the private school for so long, I got country Catholics, and they work hard. I put them through a lot, and they don't complain. They do what they're supposed to do, which I'm excited. I didn't have that in Lake Charles. They were, I used to mess with them a lot and tell them, a lot of y'all ain't even they don't cut their own grass, and it's not, and I've been in Abbeville and I've been in Natchitoches, and those kids, they were working kids, hog hunting, duck hunters, and I kind of got a little bit of that here with those kids. They work hard. And going back to what Coach said with Katrina, we went through Rita, which was, a month later or 2 weeks later, and you know, they're spot on what they say with that. We had the same problem in Southwest Louisiana with that also.
My last question, again, Charlie Cryer, Eric Chuter, Hutch Gonzales, 3 of the 4 new coaches in St. Tammany Parish. Coach Chuter, were you on the staff when Salmen won a state title?
I had just left.
You had just left.
I left in '99.
Okay. It's been a it's been a long time since Salmen, and a lot has changed in this parish. I know the coach talk is always, of course we can win, all that kind of stuff. But is this parish capable, no matter what whether it's 2A, 3A, or 3A, 4A, or 5A, is this parish capable of producing a state champion in football?
If you don't remember, in 2008, we were referees called away from playing from the game. If you remember the infamous push game, I don't know if you remember that, against Shaw in the semifinals at our place. You know, so that was the next day, the front page of the Times-Picayune was the face mask on the untimed down, which wasn't called. So we were one play away from being in the Superdome. So can somebody from St. Tammany Parish do it? Absolutely. And the success that Mandeville's had and getting to the semis the last few years, it's just about at that point maybe having 1 or 2 more kids on your roster that could be a difference maker in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, Coach alluded to, 3 times in 10 years, Mandeville's been to the semis. Again, one maybe a yard and a half off of, Bullitt's foot, 70-yard field goal. He doesn't get. They don't have a 5-yard loss to play before that. They're in the dome. So I definitely think it's reasonable to believe. Like I said, I think everybody talked about the watering down of the system for so long, with there being as many 3, 4, and 5A schools in the parish as there are. But I think the time for that excuse is kind of over. Like I said, with the amount of kids that are in this parish and the amount of quality coaches and quality schools, and that excuse is done. It can be done for sure. Like I said, they've been there and won state championships and competed for state championships, and I think that it's definitely a reasonable thought. They sure last year, Covington goes on an undefeated run and plays a ridiculously tough Hondo at some point plays quarters. So it can be done. There's definitely enough quality players and coaches over here to put something like that together.
Coach Cryer, you've won one.
I have, and I was going to answer that. You don't, that's you don't know you're going until you get there.
Right.
And we were 2-2. We wasn't even in the top probably 30 when I won, but it's just things coming together. That 1 or 2 extra player, that 1 or 2 kids you have that steps up. They say, man, I wasn't expecting that from him this year. And as far as being around in North Louisiana, Southwest, it can be done anywhere.
Coach, you were the head coach?
I was.
Really?
I was.
That's awesome. What year?
2003, we beat Kenwood, 10-6. Yeah.
Awesome. Again, want to thank Charlie Cryer, Eric Chuter, Hutch Gonzales, 3 of the 4 new head coaches in St. Tammany Parish that you're going to get to see on the sidelines this year.
I got one as a